The Virellians begged for help. The Galactic Council voted no. Dying on a shattered world, they expected extinction. But then, through the radioactive clouds, a Terran ship broke the silence. Humanity hadn't come for politics. They'd come to save lives. The planet Virellia had once been a wonder of the galaxy. Emerald forests breathed bioluminescent light, and the skies shimmered with colorful auroras born of magnetic storms. The Virellians, delicate, crystalline-skinned beings, had been artists, scholars, and philosophers, their society based on harmony and knowledge. But centuries of cosmic misfortune reduced their thriving civilization to ruins. It began with a stellar flare from their sun, knocking out planetary defenses and seeding radiation storms. Then came tectonic collapse, flooding cities and breaking their orbital elevators. A final blow came from a genetic plague, possibly from a passing trade vessel. Within decades, Virellia was no longer a jewel of peace, but a graveyard for its own culture. By the time their final request reached the Galactic Council, only a few million remained. Emaciated, sick, desperate, and the Council, composed of 27 major species, labeled the Virellians non-viable. They voted to quarantine the system. "There is no point in wasting resources," said the Groth ambassador. "Let them pass naturally." But word of the Virellians' fate reached Earth through an intercepted transmission by the Terran listening post on Europa Station. The message was barely audible, corrupted and layered with static. But it contained 6 haunting words. "Please, help. Anyone. We are dying." Admiral Mei Chun of Earth Defense Command played the message before the Terran Council. There were debates. Some wanted to follow the Galactic Council's lead and stay out. Others, younger representatives, remembered humanity's own near-extinction events. In the end, humanity didn't send diplomats. They sent the UES Deliverance, a medical carrier flanked by escort corvettes, with engineers, bioexperts, terraformers, and translators. It wasn't a fleet for war. It was a fleet for rebuilding. They arrived in Virelian orbit just 3 weeks later. Captain Arjun Patel, mission commander, stared at the surface through reinforced viewports. "All that beauty," he muttered, reduced to ash and whispers. Upon descent, the team found survivors sheltering in half-collapsed buildings, surrounded by makeshift radiation shields. Children with transparent skin too thin to hide their bones. Elders holding onto memory tablets like sacred relics. The humans wasted no time. Habitation domes inflated within hours. Water purifiers roared to life. Doctors worked side by side with Virelian healers, blending Terran medicine with alien biology. Engineers stabilized crumbling energy grids with fusion cores hauled across 12 light-years. A week into operations, Virelian elder Leare asked Patel, "Why?" The others ignored us. Some even mocked us. "Why would humans come?" Patel looked around the temporary hospital, his people treating injuries, laughing with children, restoring dignity. "Because we were alone once too," he replied. "And someone showed us mercy. It's our turn now." News of Earth's defiance spread fast. The Galactic Council held emergency sessions, condemning Earth for violating the non-intervention accords. Sanctions were proposed. Trade embargoes threatened. The Groth ambassador even called humanity reckless emotional primitives. Earth responded with one statement: "We do not need permission to do what is right." And the galaxy noticed. Soon, individuals from other species began arriving. A Creel doctor, a Xinthian power systems technician, a Martokian water chemist. Inspired by humanity, they risked exile to help. Virellia became a symbol, not of death, but rebirth. 3 months in, a delegation of younger council members secretly visited the planet. What they saw defied every assumption. Virelian children learning Terran math beside alien volunteers. Gardens growing in once-dead soil. Music drifting through the air, a fusion of human cello and Virelian wind choirs. And at the center of it all, humans working without demand for reward. Captain Patel met with the delegation. One young Ralthari asked, "Do you not fear reprisal? Your council disobeys the Galactic Compact." Patel chuckled. "Laws are only sacred if they serve life. If not, they need breaking." A week later, a surprise vote took place in the Galactic Council. The older generation tried to block it, but the youth had momentum. The Virelians were officially recognized as under protected revival status. Resources were approved. Earth was granted pardons. But none of that compared to what happened a year later. Virelia held its first celebration in decades. Not of survival, but of unity. Under the twin moons, Captain Patel stood beside Elder Leare as music swelled. She turned to him, crystalline eyes reflecting starlight. "You did more than save our bodies," she said. "You reminded us of who we are." He bowed slightly. "You reminded us, too." A new city was named that night, Nova Terra Virelia, a hybrid capital where Terran and Virellian cultures would forever blend. The Galactic Council quietly revised the non-intervention accords. And in classrooms across the galaxy, a new historical chapter began with one sentence. When no one stood with the forgotten, humanity arrived.